I'm Stephen Mitchell.
I'm Jonah Metcalf.
I'm Aiden Karmazinski.
I'm Stephen Lasko.
I'm Caleb Martin.
I'm Caleb Mitchell. I'm a team leader, and this is our robot.
This year, we started by using democratic processes to make important pre-construction decisions. Then we divided into subcommittees.
Jumping Jupiter, the dead of oh man! It's just
Hold on just a second.
It's just so epic! Awesome!
Look, let us tell you how it works. Okay?
Okay, what is this thing with this deal here?
That's our block vacuum. A block vacuum is our method of retrieving and storing blocks. With two wheels that spin in opposite directions, we can effectively and efficiently launch blocks into our box to be taken up and stored.
The box is made out of sheet metal. We shaped it to look like a funnel so that the blocks come in easily. We also have a lip at the bottom of our box so that the blocks can come in and never come out to our final dump. The box is attached to a swinging arm, which is then attached to a lift.
So you have the blocks in the box. Now what?
Well, that would be the lift. The lift moves up and down on a rack and pinion system powered by these two DC motors. We used to have a chain lift, but we decided to scrap that just before Super Regionals because it was unreliable, really heavy, and it had a lot of points of failure. We changed to this because it had a lack of all those subjects.
Wait, so how does all this move? What a silly question. It's magic, right?
It's only half magic. Sorry. You see, our robot is controlled using the Robot C programming language, giving us a wide variety of options. This year we had two veteran programmers writing code, one rookie programmer learning code and writing test programs, and one expert mentor programmer to give us tips. This year we have two programs, our TeleOp and our all-in-one autonomous program. We organized these two pieces of code using header files. These files took huge chunks of code out of our main document so we could focus on individual things. These included generalized movement functions, our IR detection algorithms, and an NXT-based menu system that let us choose our autonomous strategy, our position, and our variable time delay. Our first autonomous strategy dashes for the ramp, which blocks opponent access, and then dumps for an easy 40 points with a 25% chance of 60 points. This is ideal in some situations when our normal autonomous strategy may conflict with our alliance partner. Our second autonomous strategy is the IR beacon method. We drive parallel to the blocks, locate the IR beacon, dump a block, and then drive onto the ramp. Straying away from the autonomous, our teleop is the bread and butter of our robot, and we've made it very easy to edit using the parameters and functions we've included. The first controller controls the drivetrain and vacuum, and the second controller controls the arm and the lift.
But what about this whatchamacallit?
Well, that's our hand. That's part of our end game, and as you can see, we focus especially on this part of our end game, as I will now explain. Our hand is attached to our arm, which swings up and will grab onto the pull-up bar as shown. It effectively pulls our robot up and ends our round because we're suspended above the playing field. The second part of our arm is this longer piece of aluminum. What it does is it allows for easier access for a double hang by allowing other robots to come up and hang on it, which is allowing an easier version of a double hang so we don't have to try to squeeze under the bars, we don't go over the line. It just makes it a little easier and a little more efficient, just so makes it so everyone can be happy.
So your alliance would actually attach to you, and you've already hung?
Yes, we would go up and they would attach them onto our bar right here.
Okay.
And it's actually been able to support a robot of 50 pounds before.
So you say that the supporting is not so much the strength of the arm, it's the how well your mechanism keeps you from sliding back down. So how did you do that?
Actually, this is attached to the bar. This is attached to the same piece that's attached to the bar. So the robot itself is hanging separately from this piece is holding the other robot.
So you're still because your attachment to the bar is only your own hooks. What mechanism are you using to keep it from sliding back down?
The actual we use the friction from the motors because before we had to use a lift lock that would keep it from sliding down. But now with this new rack and pinion system, it's much more reliable, and we can actually just use the friction of the motors to hold our robot up. The other robot hangs on this, which doesn't put pressure on the lift.
Okay.
Now wait. Does the robot come with any instructions?
Unfortunately, no. Therefore, the team got to use its favorite tool, Creo Parametric. Team 6100 had many uses for Creo throughout the year, the first of which was in designing early prototypes of the entire robot. This allowed the team members to talk to each other and perform a feasibility assessment and decide what items would be practical to include on the robot and what designs would be good for actual ease of operation. But it didn't stop there. We continued to work on prototypes and designs throughout the year. You can see here the evolution of one of our most Creo-heavy pieces, the box, and how it changed throughout the year as we continued to prototype. This design was used at States. This one was used is being used now actually. And so we continued this prototyping throughout the year. The team also used sub-assemblies within the program, allowing them to work on one element of the robots at a time.
We sent out sponsorship letters and also on our website.
This made it much more easy to design individual elements. For example, if you have multiple people working on it, one person can be working on the drive while the other person works on the lift. And even if something goes completely wrong, the program crashes, these elements do not interfere with each other. It is very easy to design using these sub-assemblies. Our biggest use for Creo, though, was probably designing custom pieces as seen in our plexiglass pieces, and especially the box. This gave us, as you can see here, very precise dimensions of all of these pieces, making it much easier to manufacture them in real life. All of this put together yielded a design that ended up being what is now a world-class robot.
Amazing! The robot's just so sweet. I might even say it's groovy. Were you able to show it to anybody else?
Yeah, we actually did. Before the beginning of this year's competitions and game, we showed last year's robot to a group of Boy Scouts. We also have a website that we use to reach out to teams as far as Washington from Maryland. And we also had two groups come to our meetings and ask us and talk to us about how we interacted with the rest of our team and how, as a first team, we went about our meetings.
When you say two groups, are those other teams? Or?
No, they actually didn't make other teams, but they are thinking about making other teams next year.
Potential other teams, but okay, got it. Okay.
Yes. We also set up scrimmages at our field. We hosted one scrimmage where people came to prepare for super regionals. The people had qualified from Maryland at the state competition, and then also we had a group come to work on their autonomouses so that they could get ready. Actually, at this competition, they're here, and Cubics, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but we also brought our field to a curriculum fair and a co-op where we reached out to hundreds of first-aged kids and showed them and their parents our robot and what FIRST is, and brought out FIRST in that way. We also included several experts in the field and brought them into our team and had them help us. A NASA computer-aided design expert came and helped us out with Creo, as well as a programming expert and a Johns Hopkins applied physics lab engineer. They also came. And last year we had 10 members on our team, but because of our outreach, we doubled in size to 18 team members and had to make a second team. So we now have a sister team. And we went from one sponsor to 7.
Now, I certainly can't be the only one here with questions. Maybe the judges have some questions as well.
I see 6. You say, I guess you have 9 if there's 18 total?
Yes, so not all of them were able to come.
Two of them,
Okay.
two of our seniors actually weren't able to make it today. They stayed back in Maryland.
So today, they're still coming, or they're going to? They're not coming, okay. I thought maybe they show up when you get on the field or something. Okay.
So you said you've got 7 new sponsors. Do you have a business plan that outlines that?
Yes, there is. It is our engineering, or our engineering notebook professionals are not here. They were all the ones that couldn't make it. Somewhere near the back, I believe. Has a business. Yeah, here back it says business clear design on that tab. So it should be there.
So we've done a lot with the first NV affiliate.
Might just be a business somewhere we have in
We
there.
also have
Okay,
a captain's, we had a bi-weekly captain's log during the lead up to super regionals. And
We talked a lot about your bot. I like the way you guys presented all that. We talked about, what about growth? You talked about going around, you tried to get some potential teams. Where were they at? Is it other schools in your area, or you guys are affiliated with the church, right?
Yeah, we're actually mostly homeschooled except for one of our members who couldn't make it. And so we're all just a bunch of homeschoolers who came together from different co-ops. And so we brought the robot to one of our co-ops in a curriculum fair where they were coming around and selling different curriculums.
How many people were at the co-op and curriculum fair that you guys went to?
I was actually one of the people who ended up joining because of the co-op and curriculum fair stuff.
But how many people were there when you demoed your robot?
At the curriculum fair, there was, I want to say like 30-ish kids, and then I personally talked to like 10-ish parents about first.
And the other one where we brought the field and set it up, that was where a lot of us meet with other homeschoolers. And
I was homeschooled, so I know what a co-op is.
I understand. I've been to teams.
So yeah, so there are hundreds of families in the co-op, therefore hundreds and hundreds of kids that were able to see it. All first stage, be it FLL, FTC, etc.
Yeah, we did.
Where'd your name come from?
Incentives to celebrate our.
That was last year. We're just trying to think of a name that sounded cool, really. Just people brainstorming, throwing it out there. We were going to be the Droids originally until we ran into another team called the Droids. So we went with our second best option, the one we thought sounded cool, the Chariots of Fire.
Also, the movie Chariots of Fire.
Yeah.
I assume you've seen that.
Yeah, got some really neat theme music.
Yeah.
So those bubble gears, sorry, they just are interesting me with the way they look. Did you guys make them, or did you buy them?
We bought them.
You bought them, okay.
I'm sorry, I just real quick wanted to verify. The name was actually originally rooted from a Bible story. Just to add a little bit more trivia.
So I was wondering, you were from a church or had a relationship to Elijah. So okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's called Elijah.
Your robot's Elijah?
This is
okay.
Elijah.
That's cool. Okay, I like it.
The vacuum bit, sorry, it's just fascinating me. It's different on one side versus the other. Is there a reason for that?
I think that would be a good question for Stephen Mitchell to answer.
Well, the reason we have two different kind of wheels is for more efficient block grabbing. This one is a foam material, which will give more give to the block so they can come in at any position, whereas this, like a rubber wheel, has grip so that the cubes don't just slide right out, they will stay within that.
Is there a difference in the, that's the internal part of the wheel. Is there a difference? It looks like one side's maybe treaded and one side's smooth. What's that about?
Oh, yeah. This is a omni wheel on the inside. This here is a custom-made wooden wheel. We had to do that for sizing because another omni wheel was too big.
But I'm still looking at the external part. It looks like the one on the left, the orange one, is some kind of smooth material with a rubber band, and the one on the right is some kind of a treaded track thingy.
Basically, it sums up our robot. It's duct tape. That's about 3/4 of our robot. Duct tape with the rubber band around, just to add a little bit more grip. But it's duct tape with the foam, so we can grip more. And this is actually part of Lego. Like our team used to be in the first Lego league, and so we got some of these rubber Lego wheels,
Right.
which they just happen to be treaded. I mean,
The reason this one had to be have the foam and be squishy was so that if a cube came in crooked, it wouldn't jam the mechanism. This would just yield a little bit and allow the cube to come through.
We found that happened a whole lot before when we used these kind of wheels on both sides.
Yeah, we're gonna go
So
on.
this is a design from having two track wheels and learn from experience thing.
Exactly.
Okay, got it, okay.
And burned out motors. Lots of it.
Yeah, jam that up there, I can see how that could happen. Okay. Not so much.
No.
And then the wheels at the top, what are they for?
Those
Tires.
Our lift actually in one of the in super regionals, we realized just how violent our lift slam was when the commenter had to actually address it. And it was a little bit ridiculous. Okay, let me just put it that way. So we were afraid it might actually damage the field, so we added this on here so it wouldn't slam into it and it would hit this bar back here instead of hitting the buckets.
We were kind of hinted at super regionals when they pulled our block dumping the hammer. The judge threatened to deduct points if we broke part of the field, and the announcer called it the most violent block dumping robot there.
Yeah,
I think we've been awarded that honor at every competition we've been to.
They weren't very civil about it.
They were not.
Do you guys mind if I take a photo real quick?
Not at all.
Episode bi-weekly online radio show. If you go to /captains-.
Pretend like you like each
Kind of
hard.
Alright, thank you.
And more questions?
Well, if you had any last thoughts that you'd like to leave us with, what is it?
Yeah, I'll say a couple of words. That is, as far as strategy, we spent a lot of time strategizing this year. You will notice that unlike a lot of teams, we do not have a flag spinner on any part of our robot. This is because we found it to be a little... first off, we maxed out all 8 DC motors in the rest of the robot design so that we can do what we do very well. And we tried using different motors, trial and error, figure out what had the best RPMs, the best power that was not a DC motor. But we found that we never used it because it was a little slow, and it was getting in the way of our double hangs. And so in order to maximize points, we got rid of that and are now able to double hang more smoothly without other teams catching on the flag spinner.
We tried very hard to design one that would be able to fit in with our design, was able to be fast enough without using a DC motor, because we couldn't fit anymore. And we really couldn't possibly take one of these off because we needed the speed and power. It was with 3 Lego motors, and a lot of times it would get caught, and it was giving us too many problems than it was worth. In fact, at all competitions, we never used it once. So we ended up getting rid of it and decided our specialty is hanging. And you can see on our robot here, which we already explained, a double hang hook thing. So.
And lots of motors probably, the way you've designed your scoop, your vacuum and your dumper, it takes a fair bit of motor power too.
Yeah, those alone take a total of 4 motors.
But also helping your teammate,
All right.
your team.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good competition. Good
We
luck.
have one thing we'd like to leave you with. You mentioned that totally inspirational theme music, and our robot can sing it.
Nice.
Thank you for your work, guys.
Thank
I'm
you,
sure it's
guys.
going to be a fairly long week for you guys. So we appreciate it very much.
Almost as long as the average engineer works.
Yeah.